Jeremy is in Evansville, Indiana. Hi, Jeremy. How are you?
I'm good. How about you?
Better than I deserve, man. What's up?
Just got a quick question. Want to get your input on whether I should take advantage of this crazy auto market right now and sell my current vehicle. I have a truck that I bought brand new before I really took upon your ways, and it's gone up actually in this value or in this market right now as far as value.
That's weird.
And I had the opportunity. It is, and I had the opportunity to sell it like later today, and I'm just kind of wanting to see if you think that's a good idea. Like I said, my perspective has changed on this a lot as far as vehicles go and losing value.
Wow.
And so I have no debt right now. We have no debt. Really, there's no emergency. This would basically just kind of shoot us into baby step 4 and some.
Mm-hmm. So what will the truck sell for today?
They're about $38,000.
Mm-hmm. And what's your household income?
Right around 150 to 170. It varies depending on overtime and things like that.
Mm-hmm. What's the truck? What kind of truck is it?
One of your favorites. It's a 2018 Tacoma.
It's a great truck. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I love it. I absolutely love it. Like I said, it's the only reason why I would sell at this point is just
what's
to
the
take
other car
advantage of
worth?
actually making money. As far as my wife's car,
Mm-hmm.
I'm wanting to say I think we have just looked into it recently. It was right on $27,000. It's a 2018 Toyota Camry.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. You've heard us talk about this, obviously, and it's made you think about this, and you can do whatever you want to do. There's no you're stupid in this discussion, okay? No column, we check that box. So you can keep it or you can sell it. And here's why. A car is the largest thing all of us buy, just about all of us buy, that goes down in value. And so it's a big item, and it goes the wrong way. So they all suck financially, okay? There's not a good one.
Okay.
There's not a good one. And we've got an anomaly in the market right now where it actually went up in value, but that's the first time in 100 years that cars have gone up in value, and it won't last, okay? It's just till the supply chain gets straightened out, the supply-demand curve evens. And then they'll start going down again like a rock. That's where Chevy gets at, like a rock. So this is it's just a fact, okay? So given that, years ago when we first started teaching people to become baby steps millionaires, we determined that there are two measures if somebody has too much car. One is if they can't pay off all their debt, not counting their house, in 2 years. Well, you're debt free, so that doesn't even apply to you. And the second one, George?
The second one, as far as
okay,
can you buy a car new?
No, you don't want to buy a car new unless you're, which you've already got this car. But if you're going to call me up to, am I going to buy a new car? I want you to have $1 million net worth. I didn't ask you about that.
Oh.
But if you don't want more, because they're so big and they go down in value, you don't want more than half of your annual income, even if everything's paid for, tied up in things going the wrong way.
Anything with a motor in it.
Yeah, anything with a motor or wheels, totaled up, it doesn't need to be more than half your annual income. Because, let's say in your case, you make $175,000 a year. So if you had $110,000 worth of vehicles going the wrong way, that's going to weigh you down in your wealth building, right? You don't.
Absolutely.
You don't. You've got about 50-something thousand, and you make $175,000 a year. So yours is not out of line. It's a little high, and it's kind of stinging you because you got new information, the way you're processing this emotionally, but there's no financial thing screaming that you need to sell this truck, and you like the truck. I'm personally going to keep it if it's me.
Are you just trying to fast-track baby step 3 right now?
We're pretty much good on baby step 3, so it kind of like just launches fully into baby step 4. And the other part of this, too, to kind of throw in the equation is, I'm a police officer, so I actually have a take-home car, and that's what I drive 95% of the time. So this truck just sits in the garage, and normally I just feel like I'm sitting there watching it go down in value while I never use it. And so if I did this, it would be basically to kind of let the market calm back down and then find a better deal on a used car that I'd still be pretty happy with.
Well, you can do that. That's not an unwise thing. It's not an unwise thing. And so, yeah, this is get out while the getting's good kind of thing. I'm with you.
Exactly.
And so I think that's, you're topping out the market because, 2 months from now it's probably not going to be that way. This is probably your one shot at pulling this deal off. And like you said, you can go buy something for half this price when the market evens back out. that is a really nice truck still.
Absolutely.
Especially for a driveway sitter.
Exactly.
So yeah, I'm with you.
I feel like
it's okay, but I just want you to understand it's not the same weight as if you had $110,000 worth of vehicles. Because guys call me up making $250 and they want to buy a $200,000 Lamborghini, and I kick their little butts. Because that's just stupid short-term thinking. That's Friday night, I'm going to spend all my money. That's all that is. It's a child. And you're not doing that. You're doing the opposite of that. So I wanted to talk through the critical thinking of this. But I agree with you. I think I'd do what you're doing if I woke up in your shoes. There's no problem with keeping it, though. You're not on the bubble. You're not out of line. If you just rethink this and go, I just really like this thing, I'm going to keep it. Well, that's okay. But if you wanted to get out and come up with something 6 months from now that was half the price and still a really nice vehicle, this is the month to do it. Because it could last 2 more months, but I don't think it's going to last 6 more months. I'm positive as I can be about anything, that it's not going to last 6 more months. But George.
What's that?
That there's only 2 people that can keep their jobs and be wrong all the time. Weather forecasters and economists.
That's good. I should have chose a different career path. That's good.
Well, and apparently mathematicians in the medical profession, too. That's another one. But, yeah, you can keep their jobs and be wrong all the time. But other than that, the rest of us have to be right most of the time. So I'm actually guessing, but I'm looking at supply-demand curves. I'm looking at what's settling out. I'm watching these supply chains smooth out, and I'm watching some of the tsunami following the pandemic. See, we shut down the whole freaking economy. That was an earthquake. Following an earthquake at sea, there's always a tsunami. And then we have this tsunami hit, which is all this labor disruption, the supply chain disruption, the supply-demand disruption. And so there's a shortage on everything, which immediately drives the price artificially up. And so all this hyperinflation you're seeing, you can blame Joe Biden if you want to, but you'd be wrong. I'm not a Joe Biden fan, but he didn't cause this. Pandemic shutdown caused this. And everybody freaking out, shutting down the whole freaking world caused this. And the economic disruption that we chose when we chose to quarantine the entire world, that's what caused this. And so if you want to blame something, that's what you blame. Now, there is one thing you can blame Joe Biden for on the prices, no doubt about it, and that's gas prices. Because he keeps tinkering with all the energy policy, and he's screwing with it, and he put OPEC back in charge, and that's going to drive prices to double. So you got double at your gas pump. That is his fault. But the other economic stuff is not. You can try to blame it on him if you want. It may affect fall elections, but it's not his fault. It's the tsunami following this stuff, and that's what we're all experiencing right now. And so lumber prices are through the roof, or whatever housing prices, and there's a shortage, and everybody's running around buying up everything. And Christmas is going to be horrible because we're not going to be able to get our little jungle gym thing or whatever it is you're supposed to get.
There's a lot of just fear, and people are freaking out about inflation. And I think the best thing you can do is to do the baby steps. Get out of debt.
I was 22 years old in 1982 when Carter went out. And I walked through my teenage years with gas prices and gas lines and shortages and real inflation that went on for a decade that was double digits.
Wow.
10% a year, steady. That's inflation to be afraid of. Inflation that spiked temporarily, brought on by this supply-demand curve screw up out there, is not something I'm panicking about. But if I thought these guys were doing monetary policy that was, driving inflation, now obviously they're spending money like they're in Congress up there, and so that's going to hurt it too. That's going to slow the recovery from this down, the recovery of this, because you print money like that. But that's also not what's causing it, because that money's not been injected into the economy yet. So it's just the perception of that that's blowing everybody's mind. And then you politicize it and want to argue about it, then you go bananas.
Makes for a better headline.
Well, and you lose all your critical thinking skills when you start talking politics. So just melt down, all in the name of what you supposedly believe. This is The Ramsey Show.